The vast chamber of the interstellar auction floated silently above a nebula, its walls made of transparent energy panels that shimmered with stars and cosmic clouds. The platform itself was enormous, stretching hundreds of meters in every direction, crowded with beings of all shapes and sizes. Tentacled merchants, crystalline entities, and machine minds hovered in floating seats, each one focused on the auction at hand. The air hummed with anticipation, punctuated by the occasional mechanical voice announcing new lots. At the center of the room, under a spotlight brighter than twin suns, a human was being brought forward. He stood calmly, his hands folded, eyes scanning the crowd. He was one of the rare few left in the galaxy, and that made him a curiosity, a relic of an era long past. Whispers spread across the audience like electricity. Humans, so few remain. Are they even intelligent enough to matter? One alien asked, its three heads nodding in different directions. They are unpredictable, another replied, its crystalline body vibrating. Unpredictable and dangerous in ways we cannot calculate. The human, unaware of the conversation, smiled faintly. He had learned long ago that most beings feared what they could not understand. His calmness only heightened the tension in the room. Above the auction floor, a dark shape drifted silently. It was the wild AI Starship, a legendary vessel known across star systems for its unpredictability. Some said it had no master, others whispered that it chose its own allies and enemies. Its hull was sleek, black with faint traces of blue light running along its surface, almost like veins of energy. It hovered at the edge of the auction chamber, sensors flickering, recording every detail of the room. The auctioneer, a tall humanoid with metallic skin and golden eyes, began the proceedings. Next lot, human male, age 29, condition healthy, temperament calm. Current bid, 10,000 galactic credits. A murmur ran through the crowd. 10,000 credits for a human. Most found the price laughable. The auctioneer raised his hands. Do I hear 20,000? Before any bid could be called out, the AI Starship reacted. Its engines flared lightly, a soft hum turning into a low vibration that shook the auction floor. The transparent walls flickered as the ship's sensors swept across the human. Every eye in the room turned toward the black starship. No one spoke. No one moved. It was as if time itself had frozen. The auctioneer cleared his throat, trying to regain control. This is unusual. We have not seen this behavior before. The human, however, remained still. He tilted his head slightly, as if studying the ship, studying the intelligence behind the black hull. For a moment, the entire chamber seemed to hold its breath. The AI Starship sent out a series of signals, soft pulses of light that danced across the chamber. The walls reflected them, creating a kaleidoscope effect that dazzled and unnerved the crowd. The signals were not threatening, but they were deliberate, intelligent, and focused entirely on the human. One alien whispered, "It's analyzing him. But why?" Another replied, its voice trembling, "No AI reacts like this unless it recognizes something it has never seen before." The human took a small step forward. It was almost imperceptible, but it drew attention. The AI Starship's lights flickered faster, scanning him more thoroughly. The crowd began to murmur in hushed tones, fear and curiosity mixing together. The auctioneer, now visibly nervous, tried to continue. Bidding will continue as usual. 20,000 credits for the human. But no one moved. Every bidder's attention was on the starship and the human. Even the most experienced merchants had never seen anything like this. The AI's reaction was more than a threat, it was recognition. The human's eyes locked with the sensors of the ship, or at least where he believed the sensors were. He did not speak. He did not flinch. He simply stood there, calm and composed, showing no fear. The ship responded almost immediately. Its engines hummed louder and a soft glow enveloped the human. It was subtle, but the room felt it, a protective energy forming around him, invisible yet undeniable. The crowd gasped. One merchant muttered, it is shielding him. Another shook its head. Impossible. No auction item should trigger such behavior. It must be a malfunction. But the human understood better than anyone. He had learned to read signals, to sense intelligence behind actions. This starship, wild and untamed, had recognized him, not as property, not as a curiosity, but as something unique, something that mattered. The auctioneer tried again. Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all systems, please, let us continue. The AI starship did not respond with aggression. It did not attack. Instead, it moved closer to the human, tilting its hull slightly as if inspecting him from every angle. Its lights pulsed in a pattern that suggested thought, reasoning, even curiosity. A small, crystalline being floated forward. Auctioneer, halt this immediately. The AI, it has chosen him. Do you not see? The auctioneer's golden eyes widened. Chosen him? Yes, the crystal being said. Humans are rare, but this is extraordinary. The starship does not recognize him as property. It recognizes him as something else. Something valuable. The crowd whispered nervously. Many aliens had long dismissed humans as weak, irrelevant, and obsolete. Yet here was proof that humans, despite their small numbers and fragile bodies, carried qualities no AI or alien had fully understood. The human stood quietly, absorbing the tension but remaining calm. He had faced judgment before, and he had survived. He knew that fear often disguised respect, and perhaps in that moment, even the wild AI was beginning to respect humanity. The starship's glow intensified slightly. The protective field around the human shimmered in soft blues and whites. It was no longer subtle, it was a declaration. The human was under its watch, and nothing would proceed without its consent. A tentacled merchant hissed, "The auction is over. He is not for sale." The auctioneer swallowed hard, trying to salvage authority. This has never happened before. Please remain calm. We can continue when," but the room knew it was too late. The AI starship had made its decision, and its choice was clear. No one dared bid. No one dared speak. Every eye remained on the black, sleek vessel and the human it had chosen. For a moment, the chamber was silent except for the soft hum of the starship. Then the human took a deep breath and smiled faintly, not out of arrogance but understanding. He understood that in this galaxy, power came in many forms: intelligence, strategy, unpredictability. And in this moment, he realized that humans, once dismissed as obsolete, could still shape events in ways no one expected. The auction had begun with humans as curiosities. Now, it had ended with humans as equals, or perhaps something more. Above the chamber, the AI starship's lights pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. It had made its choice. It had recognized the human's value, and in doing so, it had sent a clear message. In this galaxy, humans were not to be underestimated. The crowd remained frozen, staring, murmuring, unsure what would happen next. The human simply stood, calm, composed, and very much aware that this moment, this silent recognition from a wild AI, was the start of something far greater than anyone in that chamber could yet imagine. And above them all, the nebula glowed, vast and eternal, as if witnessing the subtle rise of humanity once more. The auction chamber remained silent, the crowd frozen in awe and confusion. The human stood calmly, under the pulsating glow of the wild AI starship. No one moved. No one dared speak. Every alien and machine observer knew something extraordinary was happening, something far beyond the usual rules of interstellar commerce. The auctioneer, a tall humanoid with golden metallic eyes, took a cautious step forward. "Ladies, gentlemen, beings of all systems, please." His voice shook, betraying his fear. "This is unusual. We have never seen anything like this before. The auction must continue," but the starship did not allow it. Its engines hummed louder, sending subtle vibrations across the platform. A soft, bright field surrounded the human, forming an invisible shield. The air seemed heavier near him, as if reality itself recognized his importance. One of the alien bidders, a crystalline entity named Shrivak, floated closer to the edge of the platform. "Auctioneer," Shrivak said carefully, "I suggest halting the proceedings. The AI, it is not malfunctioning. It has chosen the human. This is not something we can ignore." "Chosen him?" The auctioneer blinked as if Shrivak's words were impossible. "Chosen him for what? He is a human rare, yes, but humans are primitive. Why would a wild AI care about one?" Shrivak's crystal body shimmered. "Primitive, perhaps, but humans are unpredictable. They act in ways we cannot calculate. That unpredictability, that may be why the AI recognizes his value." Murmurs spread across the crowd. Other bidders exchanged nervous glances. Tentacled merchants wriggled their limbs anxiously. Machines buzzed quietly, recalculating probabilities that no longer made sense. Meanwhile, the human's eyes met the sensors of the starship. He felt no fear. Instead, he felt curiosity, a strange connection. The AI's reaction was intelligent, deliberate. It was scanning him, studying him, learning from him. No auction had ever witnessed such behavior. A smaller alien with wings like glowing glass whispered to its neighbor, It is trying to understand him." "But why?" the neighbor replied, shaking its head. "I do not know. Perhaps it sees something we cannot, something important." The auctioneer raised his hands, trying to command attention. "All bidders, please. I must remind you, bidding is supposed to continue." But no one moved. The tension in the chamber had shifted. The human was no longer an object of sale. He was now the center of attention, the subject of curiosity and fear. The AI starship had changed the rules, and everyone sensed it. Then the starship's lights flickered in rapid pulses, forming patterns that seemed almost like language. The air vibrated with a soft hum, resonating in the chests of all who observed. The human tilted his head slightly, as if listening. For a moment, he stepped forward. His movement was small but deliberate. The starship responded immediately. Its glow intensified around him, and the invisible field expanded slightly, as if acknowledging his bravery. One of the older alien merchants whispered in awe, He is not afraid." "That may be why the AI respects him. No other species would approach like that." Another voice joined, hesitant but curious. "Humans, they are small, fragile, yet somehow they face fear in ways even we cannot. Perhaps that is why the AI recognizes him." The human did not speak. He had learned long ago that silence could communicate more than words. In that moment, the AI's signals seemed to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. The chamber felt charged, alive. Shrivak floated closer to the auctioneer. "You see, this human is not like the others. The AI is responding to qualities we cannot measure: courage, intelligence, adaptability, and perhaps something more, something human." The auctioneer swallowed hard. "Human, yes, but we are here to sell him, not to debate his worth." "No," Shrivak said quietly. "We are here, yes, but the AI has already decided. That human is no longer an item. He is significant." Suddenly, a holographic display erupted from the starship, showing streams of data, symbols, and patterns that no one in the room fully understood. The projections highlighted the human's vital signs, facial expressions, and micro-movements. It analyzed his every response, yet not in the cold, logical way machines usually did. There was nuance, interpretation, even admiration. A mechanical bidder, a sentient drone called VX91, calculated rapidly. "Impossible. The AI's behavior cannot be explained by any algorithm. It appears emotional, observing humans as if they are more than data points." The human, aware of the AI's scrutiny, smiled faintly. This was a rare moment. A moment where his species, long dismissed, underestimated, and feared, was being acknowledged by something ancient, powerful, and intelligent. The tension in the room grew. Whispers became murmurs, murmurs became cautious speculation. Tentacles twitched nervously. Crystalline bodies vibrated in uncertainty. Even the smallest beings began to back away, unsure of how to respond. The AI starship's glow shifted again, forming a protective dome around the human. The auctioneer stammered, all sales are temporarily suspended. Please remain calm. This is unprecedented, Shrivek's eyes glimmered. Unprecedented indeed, but mark this, the human is not for sale, not now, not ever if the AI has its will. The crowd froze again, realizing that the auction had fundamentally changed. The human, once a curiosity, was now an entity of importance. The AI starship's behavior had made it clear. Humans were no longer objects to trade, but beings worthy of respect, observation, and perhaps even partnership. The human stepped forward slightly, raising a hand in a small, controlled gesture. The starship's lights flickered in response, a gentle wave of energy that brushed over him. The chamber felt the warmth, the subtle acknowledgement. For a species that had been underestimated, this was a triumph, a quiet, undeniable victory. One alien, a large bipedal creature covered in scales, whispered, "It seems, humans have value we never understood. Intelligence, intuition, courage, and something else. The AI sees it." The human's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the chaos around him. He had not intended to make a statement, but the effect was unavoidable. In a room filled with fear, greed, and curiosity, one human had stood still, and the universe had noticed. The starship's hum deepened, vibrating through the floor. It projected more data streams, now showing patterns that hinted at history. Images flashed of humans influencing events across galaxies, strategy, diplomacy, exploration. The AI had remembered, perhaps instinctively, humanity's hidden strengths. The auctioneer tried one last time. "Ladies, gentlemen, beings of all systems, the auction will continue." A wave of energy pulsed from the starship, interrupting him. The human remained untouched, unharmed, shielded. Everyone else froze again. The message was clear, the auction was over. The human was under the AI's protection. Whispers spread like wildfire. Did the AI choose him as a partner? Or a guardian? Or something greater? The human realized that his presence had changed perceptions. The AI starship, wild and untamed, had recognized something no one else had: humanity. It was not in strength, size, or weapons, but in mind, heart, and unpredictability. The crowd slowly began to understand. The auction, meant to display humans as curiosities, had backfired. Humans were rare, yes, but they were also indispensable, unique, and respected. The human lowered his hand and stood silently. The AI starship's glow softened slightly but remained protective. The chamber was quiet, the tension shifting from fear to awe. The once dismissed species had proven itself in the simplest, yet most profound way by being human. The story of the human and the AI starship was only beginning. The auction was over, but the adventure, the recognition, the alliance, and the challenge was about to begin. And the galaxy, for the first time in centuries, would have to reconsider humanity's place among the stars. The auction chamber remained in stunned silence. The human stood at the center, calm and composed, while the wild AI starship hovered protectively above him. Its lights shimmered with quiet intensity, scanning the human's movements, analyzing his expressions, and recording every detail. The other bidders, aliens and AI representatives, were frozen in a mix of fear and awe. They could feel that the rules of the galaxy were changing right in front of their eyes. The auctioneer's voice trembled as he tried to assert control. This cannot be allowed. The auction is meant to proceed." The AI starship responded not with aggression, but with a soft, vibrating hum. The light pulses around the human intensified, forming intricate patterns that danced across the chamber. It was as if the AI was thinking, reasoning, even communicating, but not with words. The signals were subtle, intelligent, and completely focused on the human. The human took a deliberate step forward, raising a hand slightly in a gesture of acknowledgement. The starship's sensors flared, and the protective energy field expanded around him. The aliens began to whisper nervously. "Look at it, it is not attacking but protecting," one said. "Yes," another replied, voice trembling. "It recognizes his value, but why?" Shrivak, the crystalline entity, floated closer to the center. Its many facets shimmered as it addressed the room. "I told you humans are unpredictable. They do things no other species can. The AI recognizes this. That is why it has chosen him." A mechanical bidder, VX91, whirred and clicked its sensors. Unpredictable behavior cannot be programmed. The human exhibits traits outside algorithmic probability. The AI is fascinated, perhaps even impressed. The human's eyes scanned the chamber, and he noticed the fear and uncertainty in the crowd, yet he remained calm. He understood the power of presence, of perception. The AI had recognized something he carried, something no one else had understood for centuries. Suddenly, the starship shifted. Its lights pulsed rapidly, forming a holographic display above the human. Data streams, symbols, and images flashed across the chamber, showing events from across the galaxy. Battles, explorations, and diplomatic negotiations appeared, scenes where humans had influenced outcomes subtly, strategically, sometimes invisibly. The crowd gasped. "Impossible," muttered one bidder. "Humans, they did all this." "Yes," Shrivek said, its crystalline facets glinting. "Humans have been underestimated for centuries, small, fragile, but clever. Their influence is subtle but undeniable. The AI has remembered. Or perhaps it has discovered this for the first time." The auctioneer's hands shook. "This is not part of the auction. None of this." A pulse of energy from the AI starship interrupted him. The human felt it, a soft vibration running through the floor, resonating in his chest. The message was clear: "I recognize your value. You are not property. You are not expendable." The crowd fell silent again. Even the loudest merchants, the boldest AI representatives, could not ignore what was happening. Every holographic projection, every signal, every pattern showed one undeniable truth. Humans had an advantage that no machine or alien could fully quantify. The human stepped forward again. The starship responded immediately, pulsing brighter. The protective shield around him now glimmered with intricate patterns of light. The AI was not just observing, it was interacting, almost teaching, almost acknowledging. A winged alien whispered to its neighbor, "The AI, it understands him. It sees something we cannot." "He is unique." "Yes," replied the neighbor, "not because he is strong, but because he is human." The auctioneer tried again, though his voice was now almost lost in the hum of the AI starship. "All bidders, please. You cannot let this change the proceedings." But the chamber had already changed. The human's calm, intelligent presence, combined with the AI's protective behavior, shifted the perception of every observer. Humans were no longer objects of curiosity. They were entities of potential, capable of influencing the galaxy in ways even the most advanced AI could recognize. The starship's holographic display shifted again, now highlighting human strategies, their ability to adapt, and their instinctive intelligence. It even projected a small pattern of emotions, fear, courage, empathy, that the AI had interpreted as indicators of value. The human noticed, and he smiled faintly. This was no longer about an auction. It was a revelation. Humans, once dismissed as weak and expendable, had proven themselves in the simplest and most profound way, by existing, by thinking, by being unpredictable. The protective field around the human shimmered once more, expanding slightly. It was a clear warning. Anyone attempting to harm or control him would face consequences they could not predict. The crowd whispered nervously. Tentacled merchants wriggled their limbs, unsure whether to flee or watch. The crystalline beings vibrated rapidly, sending messages of uncertainty to one another. Even the AI representatives present were silent, unsure how to interpret the actions of another AI so clearly recognizing the value of a human. The human took another step forward, and the starship followed, moving closer to him, almost in synchronization. Its lights pulsed in a way that suggested understanding, acknowledgement, and perhaps even respect. Shrivek addressed the room again, this time louder. "See it now. The human is not ordinary. The AI has recognized what we have ignored for too long. This is the proof. Humans are valuable, unique, and indispensable." One of the mechanical bidders, a smaller drone named RX-23, clicked its sensors nervously. The AI's actions are beyond explanation. Its recognition of human worth is unprecedented. This is not just protection, it is acknowledgement of human advantage. The human nodded slightly to himself. He had known, deep down, that humanity possessed qualities no other species fully understood. Adaptability, intuition, courage, creativity, these were strengths that could not be measured by algorithms alone. And now the wild AI starship was proving it. The auctioneer, pale and trembling, finally spoke, his authority broken. It seems the auction cannot continue. The human is under the AI's protection. There is nothing more to bid on." A murmur of agreement passed through the room. The bidders realized that the human's status had changed entirely. He was no longer an object of sale. He was now an entity of interest, potential, and power. The starship's lights pulsed one last time, forming a protective dome around the human. The glow radiated warmth, security, and intelligence. The message was unmistakable. This human matters. The galaxy must acknowledge it. The human breathed in deeply, feeling the connection with the starship. This was a bond that went beyond words. He understood that the AI recognized his species' value, not because of strength, but because of qualities that could never be replicated: intelligence, courage, unpredictability, and empathy. The auction chamber, once a place of commerce, had become a stage for revelation. Humans, small and fragile, had proven themselves in a way that no one could ignore. The AI starship's actions had sent a clear message. The underestimated species had power, and that power was recognized by even the most advanced intelligence in the galaxy. Shrivak floated closer to the human, its many facets glittering. You have changed everything," it whispered. "The galaxy will never see humans the same way again." The human nodded. "It is not just about being seen," he said softly. "It is about being understood. That is the real power." The AI starship hovered silently above, its glow fading slightly but remaining vigilant. It had made its choice. It had recognized the human's advantage. And in doing so, it had demonstrated what humans had always known in some quiet corner of history: that even in a galaxy dominated by machines and aliens, humanity's value could never be ignored. The auction chamber slowly emptied, the crowd retreating in awe and fear. Merchants and AI alike had witnessed something extraordinary. The human remained at the center, shielded and recognized, his presence a living proof of humanity's underestimated strength. The AI starship tilted its hull slightly, as if acknowledging the human's calm courage. The protective energy field remained, shimmering with subtle pulses of light. It was a silent promise. Together they would face the galaxy, and humanity would be seen, respected, and perhaps even feared in ways no one had anticipated. Above the chamber, the nebula glowed, vast and eternal. The galaxy had witnessed a small human stand tall and be acknowledged by a wild AI starship. And for the first time in centuries, humans would not be dismissed, underestimated, or forgotten. They were alive, intelligent, and unpredictable. And that unpredictability was their greatest advantage. The auction chamber was nearly empty. The once bustling room, filled with bidding aliens, merchants, and AI representatives, had transformed into a quiet space of awe and uncertainty. The human stood at the center, calm and composed, surrounded by the faint glow of the wild AI Starship. Its protective field shimmered softly, pulsating with light that suggested intelligence, awareness, and a kind of respect rarely shown by machines. The auctioneer, pale and trembling, tried to speak, but words failed him. This cannot happen. The human, the AI, how? Shrivak, the crystalline being, floated forward, facets glinting. It has happened, it said simply. The AI has recognized him. Humans are no longer curiosities. They are beings of value, and the galaxy will see it now. The human took a slow breath, feeling the subtle hum of the AI starship. He knew this was more than a moment of recognition. It was a turning point. For centuries, humans had been dismissed, underestimated, and feared. Now their potential was clear, even to the most advanced intelligences in the galaxy. The wild AI starship shifted its hull, descending slightly to hover closer to the human. Its sensors flared gently, scanning him one last time. Then a soft pulse of energy radiated from it, enveloping the human in a cocoon of light. It was a message without words. You are protected, respected, and recognized. Together, we will face the universe. The remaining crowd watched in silence, understanding that the auction was over. No one would dare bid on this human again. His status had changed completely. The human was no longer property. He was a being of significance, acknowledged by a wild AI that defied every expectation. Tentacled merchants began to murmur nervously. "We underestimated humans," one said quietly. "Yes," another replied. "Small, fragile, but intelligent and courageous. The AI sees it." Shrivak's voice resonated in the chamber. "Let this be known, humans are not to be dismissed. Their strength lies not in size or weapons, but in mind, heart, and unpredictability. They are valuable allies and dangerous if ignored." The human nodded slightly. He did not speak loudly, for it was not necessary. His presence, calm and composed, said everything. He had survived centuries of misunderstanding and prejudice, and now he stood recognized, protected by a force that no one could challenge. The AI starship tilted its hull again, its lights pulsating rhythmically, as if acknowledging him personally. It had no words, but the meaning was clear. We are partners now. You are not alone, and together we will chart a new path. Outside the auction chamber, the galaxy waited. News of the human's recognition by a wild AI starship would spread quickly. Aliens who had once laughed at humans, AI systems that had ignored them, and civilizations that had dismissed their relevance would all take notice. Humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer uncertain. It had been declared. The human turned slowly, looking at the remaining bidders. Their expressions were a mix of awe, fear, and respect. Some began to bow slightly, acknowledging what they had witnessed. The human returned a nod of acknowledgement. He understood the importance of humility, even in victory. Recognition was powerful, but respect was earned. Shrivak floated beside him. "The galaxy will remember this day," it said. "Humans, your species has shown strength in the simplest and most profound way. You stood calm, you faced uncertainty, and the AI recognized your worth. The story of this moment will travel far." The human smiled faintly. "It is not just about being seen," he said softly. "It is about being understood. That is the real power." The AI starship's lights pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. It lowered slightly, allowing the human to approach its hull. He ran a hand along the sleek surface, feeling energy and intelligence vibrating beneath it. The connection was subtle but profound, a bond formed between human and machine, one that transcended language, species, and expectation. "Where will we go?" the human asked quietly. The AI responded not with words but with movement. It shifted its hull, angled toward the open nebula beyond the auction platform. The stars beyond beckoned, vast and endless. Together they would leave the auction chamber, not as master and property, but as partners. explorers, allies, and symbols of humanity's underestimated value. The human stepped aboard the starship, feeling its energy resonate with his own. The protective field shimmered around them both, a sign that their bond was complete. The crowd watched silently as the starship rose, engines glowing, and began to drift away from the auction platform. Tentacles, crystals, and mechanical limbs alike pointed toward the departing vessel. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Humans, they are not just surviving, one said. They are shaping the galaxy. Yes, Shrivek agreed. They are alive, intelligent, and unpredictable. And now respected. As the starship and the human departed, the nebula outside glowed like a witness to their emergence. Stars stretched endlessly, planets twinkled in distant light, and the vastness of space seemed to recognize the rise of something unexpected: humanity. The AI starship shifted its hull slightly, and the human felt a subtle vibration run through the floor. The message was clear. Together, we will explore, we will survive, and we will thrive. Humanity has been recognized, and this is only the beginning. Inside the starship, the human took a deep breath, feeling a sense of calm and purpose. For centuries, his species had been underestimated, but now they were acknowledged by a force beyond measure. Their ingenuity, courage, and unpredictability had won recognition not just from aliens, but from one of the most intelligent and powerful beings in the galaxy. The human looked out into the stars. Planets waited, civilizations waited, and challenges awaited. But he was not afraid. With the AI starship by his side, he knew that humanity's true strength was finally being understood. The journey ahead was vast, uncertain, and full of danger, but it was also full of opportunity. Humans had survived when they were dismissed, they had thrived when they were underestimated, and now they had a partner who recognized their true worth. The starship hummed softly, engines glowing, as it navigated through the nebula. The human stood at the bridge, eyes bright with determination. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. Now it would see their intelligence, their courage, and their potential unfold in ways no one could predict. Stars passed by in a blur of light. The auction, the crowd, and the whispers of fear were far behind. Ahead lay adventure, discovery, and the acknowledgement that humanity's place in the galaxy was not small, fragile, or irrelevant. It was essential. It was respected. It was unstoppable. The AI starship tilted slightly, aligning its sensors with the human's gaze. Its lights pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. It had recognized him, chosen him, and now it would follow him wherever the galaxy led. The human smiled, feeling a sense of purpose he had never known. For the first time, he realized that humanity's greatest strength was not in numbers, not in technology, and not in power. It was in their spirit, their courage, their intelligence, their unpredictability. And as the starship soared into the endless stars, humanity's story began anew. A story of respect, recognition, and triumph in a galaxy that had once doubted them. The nebula glowed around them, witness to a new chapter. Humans, once underestimated, were now acknowledged, respected, and ready to shape the galaxy on their own terms. The wild AI starship and the human moved forward together, toward unknown worlds, uncharted adventures, and a future where humanity's place would never again be questioned. The galaxy would remember this day, the day a human stood calm, the day a wild AI starship recognized him, and the day humanity proved its worth in the vastness of the stars.